With a win for incumbent Senator Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada, Democrats secured the 50th seat needed to keep control of the Senate. That is huge for President Biden's ability to govern and clears the way to continue one of his most underrated successes, remaking the federal judiciary. The Democratic majority can continue confirming Biden's nominees after years of Republican leader Mitch McConnell's efforts to stack the bench with right-wing ideologues. It's also critically important should a vacancy open up on the Supreme Court in the next 2 years. While President Biden has had an incredible 2 years of legislative success with a 50-50 Senate, 50 seats only retains the status quo. 51 seats with a victory in Georgia's Senate runoff on December 6th really, really matters, because it would reduce the ability of the senator's two conservative Democrats, West Virginia's Joe Manchin and Arizona's Kyrsten Sinema, to play the obstruction game. Joining me now is Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. And Senator, thank you so much for being here. We are hearing that, there's forward movement on one potentially bipartisan bill to codify same-sex marriage. That's something that's out in the ether. But it is so rare to get Republicans to vote for anything righteous, right? They're very much set on voting as a bloc to stop anything that President Biden wants to do. So make the case against those who are saying the 51st seat doesn't matter. The Georgia race is now immaterial.
Well, I think this has to sit in context of the crisis that Republicans are going through right now. They have not yet decided who's going to lead them in the Senate, and there is an argument being made by many in the Senate that they frankly weren't obstructionist enough in the last 2 years, that they gave Democrats just a little bit of wiggle room on priority issues like infrastructure or gun violence. And so there is a real possibility that in the next 2 years, you aren't going to be able to find a single Republican vote for anything, which means Democrats are going to have to do everything from pass budgets to keep the government open and operating, never mind move forward the priorities that we think 90% of the American public still are with us on, like protecting democracy, making health care more affordable. So it is really important to have a Democratic majority, but it does make a difference to have 50 versus 51. It means that no one Democratic senator has veto ability over the entirety of the agenda. But there's another piece of this, which is people don't know in a 50-50 Senate, all the committees are equally divided, Republicans and Democrats, meaning, and there's no vice president to break a tie in a committee. So good things get stuck in committees based on tie votes. There will no longer be tie votes in committees if we have a 51-seat majority. So it's just a much more governable place if you have 51 versus 50.
And I mean, for those whose eyes kind of glaze over, we start talking about committees. Understand, people who are watching this through the TV, nearly every progressive piece of progress that's passed from the 20th and 21st century passed with more than 60 votes for Democrats in the Senate, from the New Deal to the Great Society. You have Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security because Democrats had north of 60 votes. You have the Civil Rights Act because Democrats had more. The Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, Obamacare could not pass until Democrats got that 60th vote. Having 60 Democratic senators is the only way you have basically any progressive legislation that exists in the modern era. I want to go back because Biden has said that they don't have enough votes. You guys don't have enough votes to pass the codification of Roe v. Wade, which is tragic. But here's the things that Democrats could have passed had they just gotten one more seat, had they won Wisconsin. Ending the filibuster and codifying abortion rights, protecting voting rights, police reform, gun reform legislation, even the things that are coming up soon, funding the government, not letting us go into a debt crisis, marriage equality, all of that stuff, funding Ukraine. Can any of that get done even if you have 51 seats? Don't you need that 52nd?
Yeah, listen, this is difficult so long as we have this anti-democratic rule in the United States Senate that requires you to get a supermajority. Our founding fathers are turning over in their graves right now. They never intended for legislation to need 60 votes, a 60% threshold in the United States Senate. They designed a system that was intentionally hard to get big things passed into law without the 60-vote majority. But a lot of this will depend on what happens in the Republican autopsy over what occurred in this election. It may be that Republicans don't want to be on the continual wrong side of 90% of Americans that think we should have tougher gun laws, and maybe that Republicans don't want to side with Donald Trump and oppose Ukraine aid. So there maybe is a potential for Republicans to join us on a handful of these things if they see the only path to electoral success in 2024 running through getting off the sideline on these very popular issues like supporting Ukraine or tightening up our gun laws. But that remains to be seen. As I said, there's also a potential that they take the opposite tack, that they just decide to try to make governance as hard as possible. This is all going to happen in conversations that they have in the coming days.
Before I let you go, I know that you're big on trying to force gun reform. Is another thing that's incredibly hard to get through. You had that shooting at UVA. Tragically, 3 football players were killed by another former player who came back and shot folks up on campus. Can anything like gun reform get done, in your view, with 51 votes? Does that make it more possible?
Well, there's certainly a possibility to get more done. We got 65 votes for the gun violence bill we passed last summer. And if you look at the exit polls in this election, you see that the vast majority of Americans want tighter gun laws, and that majority is voting for Democrats by a 4-to-1 margin. So once again, Republicans are going to have a hard time winning in this country if they don't support additional legislation beyond what we passed this last year. But let's just be honest. There are more guns in this country than people right now. This nation is awash in weapons. And until you do something about stopping the black market trade of weapons, until you get these AR-15s off the street, you will continue to see tragedies like you saw on 2 college campuses today. So, we still have the potential to get this done.
Yeah, at least treat AR-15s like you do pistols. At least make people fill out some paperwork. You don't even have to do that right now. You can just get one on impulse, which is wild. Senator Chris Murphy, thank you, sir. Really appreciate you being here.